Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, Ireland's only answer to Harry Kane, which, with the title of this show, if I'm the answer to Harry Kane, they should be bringing me in. But look, today we're bringing you the show. Harry Kane wants to leave, but should we let him leave? This is the question. First of all, I'm joined by special guest Will Stewart from Will Stewart thfc Rants. Will, how are you keeping, my man?
I'm good, man. It's the gang of flat caps today.
It is. It's the Irish Hotspur Army. We're all in the hats. Soon I'll have to make it mandatory. No hat, no appearance. 100%. But big up, Will. And Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
Everything apart from football and apart from Spurs, I'm keeping all right. I'm doing all right. But, it's just we keep getting just punched in the gut, it seems like, every week and every day. So, everything Spurs-wise, not so great.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. You just think, you thought with the manager's news and everything else, that we haven't replaced the manager with the enic out and all, things couldn't get worse. And then that bombshell came out yesterday and it's got worse. Look, before we get into it, make sure you do the basics. Make sure you have smashed a like on the stream and subscribe on the channel. Don't be afraid to get them super chats in or even become a channel member like my man Scott M here. Big up, Scott M. It really does help support the channel and help the channel grow. And if you have any questions for the panels as well, don't be afraid to get them in. And let's welcome a few people to the stream as well. Sorry I'm late as well, by the way, guys. I was making my appearance on Tottenham TV. It kind of ran a little bit over. They couldn't shut me up. I was just with Harry Kane and that. So I'm sorry about that, guys. And just quickly, before I do welcome people, actually, I wasn't actually originally planning on doing any content for the Euros. But I have something on board, kind of like a sponsor, so I will be doing watch-alongs and content during the Euro in order to work with this sponsor. I have to, so make sure and it's going to be fun for all you guys. There's going to be an app there. It's going to be a league specifically for the Irish Hotspur and the Harris Army, where you put in your score predictions, stuff like that. There will be prizes as well to win. So make sure it's a bit like what I was doing with the Premier League prediction show. So I'll still be doing shows like that, but with an app. So you guys can go on the app. Everything will be on the app. And then you can get live scores, live stats, live analysis, all of that sort of stuff. And then, it goes well. I'll be bringing it over into the Premier League for us, for the Premier League and for Europe and all that sort of stuff. So it's gearing up to be a big season next season, and it starts in the Euro this summers. And when I do drop the league on the app and everything else, I really love if you, the Harris Army, could get on and help me out with this and engage. It'll be a bit of fun for everybody. And the reason why I got it actually is because of you guys, the Harris Army. The engagement rate with the channel, the views on the channel. That's the reason why I got it. So thank you to you guys out there, and I really do appreciate it. You're all legends. Let's welcome a few more people to the stream now. Andrew Hall says, please don't leave. If we want to win trophies, we have to keep Kane. Couldn't agree more, my man. Wayne Bonner, big yourself up. Good afternoon, my man. Rob Kane as well, another channel member. Big up, Rob. He says, all right, at work, Davey, but we'll be listening. If a club willing to pay 200 million and he wants to go, let him. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, Rob. But me personally, I want to keep Kane. It's selfish, but I'll explain why. We actually have stats and everything else to back it up as well. Carl Simpson says, afternoon, David. We have to keep him 100%. We all know Levy doesn't care about a gentleman's agreement. 100%, my man. Kudos. Sky, he says, Sky News of the day. Sources say we have heavily linked with Iggy Piggy for the managerial position. Mac, big up Mac, he says, Kane is the main reason I fell in love with Tottenham as a club. It's going to be hard to see him leave. If all this is true, 100%, Mac. Creator ES says some people start football because of Ronaldo, some Messi. I started watching football because of the one and only Harry Kane. Oh, no, it's sad, Creator. It's sad. Lokeman, big up Lokeman. He says, good day, guys. How you keeping, my man? I hope all things are good with you. We also have, geez, the chat is flying now. It's mad. We're Tottenham TV must be finished. D-Trex Kane, D-Trex Jorex Kane. He says, if Kane leaves, I have to remove my middle name. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We'll have to. The fun will be over, D-Checks, my man. Mr. Edwinson said, this is originally came from Sky. Makes it questionable from the start. Yeah, but do you know what? This time round, I kind of do believe it, to be honest with you, Mr. Edwardson. Ian Hurst says, I don't care where Kane goes. Hashtag England. Yeah, fair enough. Bob Spur TV says, hats. Big up, Bob. We need to get you on, my man, so we do. Ronan O'Donnell. Big up, Ronan O'Donnell. James Watson, how you keeping, my man? Two legends in the chat here, and followed by another one, Fen from Everton Football. Big yourself up. We have Top 943. The fans need to start in the stadium tomorrow, calling for Levy to leave this club 100%. Dean Webb, start bringing Dane Scarlett in and play him for the last 2 games. Look, I get the sentiment behind it, Dean, but he's not going to be the answer for a full season next season. Let's be realistic. We can't pin our hopes on a 16, 17-year-old to get us the goals we need for a season, Dean. Kudos. He says, guys, we have yet another managerial candidate linked within the same day. Mr. Tumble in pole position for the job. Big up, Brian. Good evening, Brian. Good evening, Marcelo. Big up, Marcelo. Marcelo wants to come on. Will, do you want to send Marcelo a link?
Yeah.
Lads, I will be telling people I am only going for till 5:45. Because I do have another show on Henry Wright TV I have to appear on. Then I'm on Paxton Road, and then I'm back here later on for a match preview. So I will only be going for an hour. Big up, Aglia. She says, I want Kane to go to Man City rather than United. Yeah, I don't want him to go anywhere, to be honest with you, Caglia. Kelly JTV, if Kane leaves, Son leaves, 100%. I fully agree with that. I know Will have a lot to say on that as well. Brian Daigle, having a gentleman's agreement with Levy is like going for a prosthetic stand being administered by a Wolverine and Edward Scissorhands. Brian's definitely not happy with the news. And Jack Kineke with the super chat. What a legend. Hello, David, out during these sad... help David out during these sad news with Kane. Big up, Jack. Everybody has follow Jack's league. Get your super chats in. And, try and make me feel better because, honestly, I'm gutted. It's like a debt in the family. But, look, pretty sure everyone's had enough of listening to me. So we're going to pass it over to Will and just get Will's initial thoughts on the news. Do you believe it? And where do we go from here, Will? And what do you make of it all?
Do I believe it? I kind of do, man. Like, based on, Ryan Mason's press conference today, maybe made it a little bit less believable, but not a lot. Because honestly, I trust them about as far as I can throw them.
Yeah.
And so, last night with all the news and you had so many different organizations. The statements that the club put out was very kind of, we don't want to talk about it because we don't want to lose face. We don't want to be put out. And, I thought, dude, it's all the way in Sports Illustrated. So if Sports Illustrated in the United States is writing an article on it, there's got to be something there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's got to be something there. And
yeah.
Alistair Gold's put out a bunch of different stuff today. I've looked at all his different tweets. None of it's really information. It's more like he's just writing on old information.
Yeah.
So nothing's current. He hasn't had any statements. He hasn't had any inside sources telling him that's not the case. You know what I mean? It's all simply old, past information that he's using to do it because he hasn't gotten the new information. Which is, if you remember, he didn't get the bail information either until late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Oh, Marcelo, you can hear the background noise, man.
Yeah, it's pretty loud.
How about that? Better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
That's good?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Put my window down. That was my AC, my bad. No worries,
man. We'll let Will Stewart finish making his point there anyway.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it, man. That's really pretty much it.
Seems legit.
It seems legit to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. You know, me, I'm one. I like to try and dispel rumors where I can. But genuinely, as soon as I seen it yesterday, I kind of just believed it from the very off. We'll get Jack's thoughts on it now. We'll just get everything football's super chat in. He says, David, get yourself a bag of chips. 3 legends on. Big yourself up. Everything football, absolute legend. Thank you so much, my man. I'll definitely get a bag of chips. I'll get the salt and vinegar on it as well, man. Thank you. But Jack, what's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, at first I really wanted to deny it, even with I kind of was on Marcelo's boat, where it was like, you know, Sky Sports, they just love churning out these stories, and you know, they almost get off on it, and it's at that point I just started to kind of sit back and realize that, you know, it might be coming from his brother, who's essentially his agent, and I don't think his brother would, you know, really be. I don't think he would say anything like that unless it were probably true. And it also it's all made sense to us. We've all spoken about it all season about he just really, in a sense, doesn't, or we don't deserve him. And we were only hopeful that maybe he was maybe blind enough in his love for us to stay with us forever. But at the end of the day, he's kind of always criticized for not earning trophies. And I assume that probably gets to him, or he's probably just also motivated and competitive enough to want to earn trophies. And I think it all makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Marcelo, what do you think of the news, my man?
You know, well, hey, we've been saying this for you know, months now. You know, we've been saying it. You know, even before the channel, we've been saying for years that if something doesn't change, we're gonna go down. We're gonna go down as a club. I mean, not relegation, but what I mean is we're gonna fall back, and we're gonna fall back to Arsenal. And this is the beginning of it, David. We warned the fans. We warned them. That if you defend Davies, you defend this board, you defend mediocrity, the best players will not stay. Simple as. And you know what? Everybody here in this panel don't deserve this. But for the rest of the fans that did defend that mediocrity, honestly, I gotta say, we do deserve this. As a fan base, as a whole, we do deserve this. We are a joke. We can't even get, you know, riled up enough to go to a protest when these guys literally try to take a football club away, David.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I disagree with you for a couple reasons. One, you're not wearing a flat cap. I don't think you should be here in the first place. Two, some of our fans do deserve this.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. They deserve it. Well, that's what I said. Yeah. They do deserve it. And I'm going to start calling them out for it, because I'm sorry. I told people this. We got to get rid of these deadwoods. We got to get rid of players that are not good enough, because I'm looking through Harry Kane's eyes, right? At the beginning of his season at Tottenham, right? When he first started, he was looking around. He saw actual players on the pitch. He saw Christian Eriksen, you know, in his prime. He saw Dele Alli at his peak. He saw, you know, Kyle Walker, you know, when he looked at his right, you know, just winked at him and said, all right, boss, you got
one fight, you know, to Villarreal, and he's in the Europa League final, for fuck's sake.
He saw fucking, you know, Danny Rose, you know, in his prime. You know, he saw all these great players, and now he's looking around now, right? And he's seeing Musa Sissoko, right? He's looking at his left, and he's looking at Ben Davies. He's looking at his right. He's looking at Serge Aurier. He's looking, you know, in the midfield, and he's seeing Harry Winks. And then you expect the fucking guy to stay. You know, this is what we've been telling these people all along, man.
Well, it's not even that, though, Marcelo. It's worse than that, though, Marcelo. It's worse than that, and I'll tell you why. Just give me 1 second. Brad Matthews, he says, with a super chat, big up, Brad. He says, a beer to go with your chips, Dave. Potential sad end to season, but not unexpected. No, thank you so much, Brad. I really do appreciate it. The next one, why not put in another super chat, anybody else, and get me a burger with them chips? Really make my day, or a 6-pack or whatever. But no, big up, Brad. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, look, unexpected, probably not. I've been saying it for months. You know, you sack Mourinho, you're going to lose Kane too. You lose Kane, you're going to lose Son. I've been saying it for months. I've been warning people for months. I've been warning people, you don't get down to the protest, this sort of stuff is going to happen. And it turns out it has done. You know, and I'm sick of this nicety trying to understand where other fans are coming from now. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to enter that. From now on, if you have a shit opinion, you need to be called out for your shit opinion. Yeah. That's my, people still defending Ben Davies, Harry Winks, Musa's a slow coach, you know, Moon Boots, all these sort of players. Honestly, I've had enough of it. It's unbearable. You cannot defend these guys. They're not winners. We want to win. We want trophies. And now we're in a position that we've defended these guys that much that now our best player wants to leave, right? But not only that, right? If you're Harry Kane, guys, right, and you're sitting there and you're looking at the club right now and you don't know what manager's coming in, right? Son still hasn't signed his contract. You know, Hugo Lloris's future is still in doubt. No one knows what's going to happen there. He's only a year left in his contract. If a good bid comes in for him, he's out the door. If you want to take money from him. So if you're Harry Kane, you're looking at the club and you're like, no direction. I don't know what we're going to be doing next season. I don't know what if some of the other best players are staying here. I don't know what manager's coming in. But now you also look at it from the other perspective. You look at it from another manager's point of view. Looking at Tottenham, are you going to come in when Harry Kane's wants to leave? Are you going to come in when Hugo Lloris?
When Son is gone, you know, and then all you got left is Ben fucking Davies and Eric Dyer. I see this fan base defend those guys more than I see Son. Hold on a second, guys. I'm going to get some chicken. Fuck this.
No, every time you mention Ben Davies' name, I have to press that button.
But lads, Will, before I do want to start bringing up some stats and stuff like that, and before I do, look, it's not only Kane. When I seen that news that I was worried about, straight away I was worried about Son. No contract. We were told it was all being finalised behind the scenes, and he would sign it. Probably happen at the end of the season. But with news like Harry Kane's coming and the telepathic partnership they have, do you think we're honestly keeping Son, especially with the pressure he has on him from Korea?
Look. I think Daniel Levy has a little bit more, I guess, and this is horrible to say, but a little more power over Son. For instance, if he forces Son to stay, there's not going to be a big backlash in the English fan base. You're going to get big backlash in the Korean fan base, but to be honest with you, they're not there, right? So I don't know how much he really cares. But you definitely don't see Son signing a new contract now. At all.
No.
So you got 2 years left of Son. So basically when Son's contract is over, he's gone.
Yep. So
next season and the season after. You know, or maybe Daniel Levy sells him the season after that just to get, 20, 30 million like he did with Eriksson.
Yeah. No, this club, man. This club is ruining me. It's killing me. Jack, what do you think on the Sun situation, man?
I just got to quickly say, I got to almost come forth and say I'm almost one of those guys sometimes that's guilty. I mean, you could find me defending, GPS Sanchez, probably in the past. And I just looked it up. And I think the season that we sold Kyle Walker, we sold him for £47 million. And then we bought Davinson Sanchez for £37 million. And that just, I'm guilty. It's just times like that. I do realize that there's kind of no defending things like that when you realize what Kyle Walker has achieved and what he's even capable of doing at center half, let alone fullback. It's just things like that. I'm just realized I'm guilty. I'm one of those guys sometimes. And I have to, like Marcelo said, you can't be as nice. You can't be as sympathetic to the players. And you just have to take more of a ruthless approach regarding their form and how they play.
In your We Are Tottenham TV days, you were too positive.
Too positive, right? I mean, it probably was. And but it just came to me in a whirlwind, like whiplash, Will. So, I mean, you can find me right. And We Are Tottenham TV defending GPS Sanchez. And it's a shame that I was.
We've all been there, Jack.
I got to put my hand up. But
no, look, we've all been there,
Son,
we've all been there.
In regards to Son, is his contract up in 2023 or is it up in 2022? So it's up in 2023.
I think it's 2023, but
yeah. So if
we're
it's
going
up
to be in
in
a position where
2023,
we're going to have to start listening to offers realistically.
In 2020, he can realistically play one more season, and then in the next season he will be sold. And I do not anticipate he's re-signing. I don't think he's re-signing.
Value drops in half.
If we do wait another season, his value is going to drop in half.
It would add a lot to the rebuild. I mean, it would consider it would be not only what we might have, just let alone for the transfer budget. If Kane goes for 120 million, which seems to be the low end, and Son maybe goes for probably 70 to 80. I mean, on top of whatever the other transfer budget might be, it's probably only something like 50 to 60. It's a decent bit to rebuild, but it's also considering Levy will take half of that to pay back the debt.
Yeah, Lad, we have Steve Hitchen. We're not doing any rebuild with Steve Hitchen.
But the thing is, this money that's coming in though, lads, it's not going to be for a rebuild. You have to replace Kane with a quality striker who's going to get you 20, 30 goals a season.
And a number 10.
And you're also going to have to get a second attacking midfielder to replace the assist Kane gets. So this money isn't going on a rebuild like people are saying, where you're going to be able to improve your defense and everything else. No, that money's going to have to go straight back into getting goals. Goals is what wins you things, and goals is what keeps you up in the Premier League.
It's a good point.
So this money is going to have to go straight into it.
The only thing I was saying last night, too, about this whole bet is that the problem with our team right now, too, is that goals are coming out of 2 people.
Yeah.
And if we could use that money to spread that around more to where now you got 4 or 5 guys this season getting 10 goals, that's better than what we've got now with 2 guys getting, 40 goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
I mean, if you look at like City, or like Chelsea, I don't think any of them have like more than 10 Premier League goals this season. I don't think any of their players.
But it's spread around.
Yeah, but you also look at some of the money they spent on their players to get them in.
No,
when we sell our players, we're only going to be able to get 2 out of that, realistically. 2 quality players that are going to come in and be able to get them.
Right, I was thinking like Dybala, Grealish, and have Dybala play as like a false 9 in a 4-3-3.
Dybala isn't coming.
Well, couldn't you just break it down?
Why would he leave? Why would he leave Juve for Tottenham?
Because he's not playing.
He
hasn't played in 2 years.
Couldn't you break it down?
Contract's out next year.
Yeah, get to the super chat. Yeah.
Just quickly, Skippy LFC, he says, "Hey matey, big up to you all. Buy your drink on me. Big up, Skippy. I'm telling you, I need it after that news yesterday. Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. Everyone else, keep getting your super chats in with questions for the panel. What you think on the news, and also keep getting your comments in the comment section. And make sure you have smashed a like on the stream and a subscribe on the stream. 133 at 5 o'clock in the evening. It's insane. Why aren't you guys out working? But big yourselves up.
It's my day off. It's my day off.
Oh, well, if it's your day off, lad, you can come and join me later on the pre-match show for tomorrow's game.
100%. No, listen, I have a lot to say, but obviously I understand. An hour, you have to do your own things, but in my opinion is I'm not shocked by any of this news. And honestly, when I saw it, I was like, if this doesn't wake up the fan base, if this doesn't unite the fan base, if there's still people there sitting on the fence, I mean, honestly, our fan base is the biggest fence sitters I've ever seen in my life. Their ass crack must be torn in half.
Sprinkles, full of sprinkles.
By every fucking news. If this doesn't get people to demand more from the board, demand more from Tottenham, then we deserve this. Harry Kane, we deserve to be mediocre, because if you accept mediocrity, this is what you get. And if the mindset doesn't change, it won't matter. Nothing will change. The mindset. After this season, I realized that the most important thing is not changing the board, it's not changing the manager, it's not changing anything. It's about changing the fans, the fan base.
Marcelo, we've been saying that for so long. We've been saying that we have loser mentality in the fan base. Until that changes, we're never going to be able to win anything, because we don't expect better from our players. Nusa Sissoko has a bad game. Nusa Sissoko has a bad game. Someone comes out and says, "Well, look, his washing machine broke last night. It's probably on his mind." You know what I mean? Honestly, that's the level of excuses we make for these players. It's beyond a joke. And we've been saying it for months, not only me and Marcelo, but there's other people. Till the mindset in the fan base changes, the mindset in the club is never going to change, because we accept mediocrity, which means Levy knows that, so he can just deliver mediocrity. Look, I have no problems making money off the club. It's a business at the end of the day. Make a bit of money, but if you're making money, at least give us the foundations on the pitch to succeed. You know what I mean? But our fan base don't demand that. So we in a way, we deserve what we get. You know, we do. No. But we will move on quickly. Maria Williams, she says, let's be honest. We have to one day be without Kane. We all accept
that as fans.
As fans. If he ends up at Chelsea or Man U, I'm done with this club. Maria, this is the thing, right? I fully get what you're saying. But why do we have to go without Kane? This is the thing. Why? We shouldn't have to. I do have transfers that were brought in. We do have stats now. Stats to show that we can't afford to lose Kane. But a big reason why enic have failed Harry Kane on the pitch with players to help the guy. And if we would have got the recruitment right, because we do spend money, but if we would have got the recruitment right, this day might have never have came. This day, if he's watching James Maddison at Leicester pick up an FA Cup before Harry Kane has picked up everything, what has that guy done in the game compared to Harry Kane? And that's probably another factor. But look, we are going to move on because I do only have short time and I do want to get some stats up on that. But big up Maria Williams. Look, I suppose after Pochettino left, I suppose the inevitable was going to happen. Kane was going to follow at some stage. But I appreciate the super chat, Maria. Thank you so much, and I hope you're having a good day and you're keeping well in times like this. But we'll start getting up stats, and we'll let Jack go through them, and we'll save the transfer ones towards the end. So whatever stats you want to bring up, my man, and we'll let Jack go through them, and then we'll have a say on them.
Yeah. So these are just the four here. And then, Jack, if you need me to blow those up, I can go in there one at a time.
Sure. Let's just go first into like his goal outputs and assist outputs, which I think is the bottom left-hand corner one of that original document you had or kind of image. But
bottom left, that one.
Yeah, that one. Brilliant. So obviously, there's a linear line of goals for Kane. The more that he grew, the more that he trained, the more professional he became. He just obviously just became an absolute tank and an absolute beast in terms of turning out at least 20 goals a season. He obviously in certain seasons had a little fewer performances than others, but still consistently churned out at least 20 goals a season, which is unbelievable for the Premier League. And also it says at the top here as a disclaimer, this is only considering European competition and the Premier League. So it's not considering goals that he might have either scored in the FA Cup or the Carabao, I guess. I forget what it was called before the Carabao. And it's just ridiculous. I don't think I have to get into it, but I think what is highlighted is obviously the bottom season here where he's turned out 15 assists. And this is probably the one element of his game that it's almost ridiculous to say, dare I say, maybe in the past was maybe a deficiency in his game. But now he's just absolutely, shut us up, shut anybody up that would have thought that. And he's basically become the complete number 9. He's not only a brilliant scorer, a lethal finisher, but he's an absolutely incredible distributor and just all-around footballer now. He's pretty much just, now with these stats right here, he's pretty much putting himself in a legendary category of possibly finishing with, I believe, the most goals in a season as well as the most assists. And there are only a few players recently, and I think ever in history, of course, that have ever done that. And so he's just already at legendary status.
Well, just quickly before we let Will and Marcelo have to say on it, just a super chat from Nigel Gates. Big up, Nigel. He says, with Kane gone, the odds of getting a top manager's toileted. What do you think we might get for manager now? No, look, 100%. I was on your Tottenham TV, Nigel, and I said the exact same thing. I even said at the start of this stream, what manager is going to look on the outside now? Looking at Kane's situation of leaving. But Nigel, it's Son as well. Son hasn't signed that contract. Hugo Lloris as well. 1 year left on his contract. So it's 3 of our main players, 3 of the players that we could probably rely on over the course of a season, going. I agree with you. What manager is going to come in? But look, that just makes Scotty Starstruck or Harry Potter even more realistic to come in, doesn't it, Nigel? Big yourself up for the super chat. But look, Will, do you want to have your say on anything there that Jack said?
Yeah, and first of all, it's not Harry Potter, it's Ron Weasley, okay?
He looks more like a Weasley.
Yeah, he does. He's done some like shape-shifting spell on himself, and he's stolen Ron's face. But no, yeah, look, Kane's really good season this year, especially from the assists point of view. I mean, it's really the only season that you could say was close would be the 16-17 season.
Right. And that was a ridiculous season if you look at his appearances too.
Yeah. You know, he has lost numbers in the last couple of years due to a lot of the ankle injuries, and I know this isn't something that people want to hear. It may be the right time.
Yeah,
it really might. If we're going to get big bucks for him, we're going to get enough money to actually to help buy somebody to replace him. It may be the right time, David. And I know no one wants to say that. But, you know, with his ankle injury and his ages and stuff like that, if we're going to get a chunk of cash, it may be the right time.
But what scares me, Will, is the thing is, I'm not against the idea of selling Kane completely, right? I agree with you. Maybe it is the right time for both clubs to move on. You know, he's been here for, 6 or 7 years. He's been in the club forever. He's been a great servant. You know, he's 28 years
old.
Well, he's probably got
popping out.
Well, I was going to say, I think you're on the right note, though, because I even put this as a disclaimer kind of question for tomorrow for when we asked David a bunch of tough hidden questions. And that was kind of one of them is, in a way, you could see this as a mixed blessing in disguise in that obviously, if we have all this money to play with, a lot of it might go towards repaying the debt, and that will be unfortunate. But let's say that Levy does actually consider maybe putting 60 to 70% of the transfer sums from Son and Kane, if not just Kane.
Can you hear
considering
that?
Considering this market, it would be you can just buy world-class players for much cheaper than they were last season, considering this market. So it be, in a way, could be a mixed blessing. It could be a huge rebuild if they were to spend wisely. It could be they could get the best value for their buck.
Yeah. Look,
but they would need to spend wisely, and that's the big.
That's the problem.
In a way, I can definitely see Will's point. But for me, surely we're a better team with Harry Kane than without Harry Kane. Surely,
Everybody does.
Harry Kane, Son, these are the players that you should be building around. Like, not bringing in like a mediocre player, a mediocre striker, because let's face it, no matter who comes in to replace Harry Kane, he's never going to live up to the heights of Harry Kane. And he's just going to be a letdown because we've been so spoiled with Harry Kane. But no, I can 100% see your point, Will. Sorry, you wanted to say something else, Will?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's like I said, that's why, look, the disappointing part is who our board is, who the owner is, and who the person in charge of transfers is. That's that's the part that makes me sick to my stomach.
Right.
If we had if Paul Mitchell was still here, or if we had Campos running the show on the football side of things, or even Raganig or something like that, then I would actually be a little bit excited because I'd be like, okay, let's see what we can do with this cash, right? You sell 4, 5, 6 of the dead wood plus the Harry Kane transfer. You're talking almost 200 million pounds there, right? Like,
just
to play with
transfers,
right? And we've got a lot of young players coming in, you know what I mean, that can come up out of the academy. We've got a lot of guys out on loan who can come back in, so that you don't have to, if you sell 5, 6, 7 people, you don't have to bring in that same number. You can bring in 4. So that's 2 quality center backs. Jack Grealish in the midfield, which I know it's like, trying to find a leprechaun right now. But Jack Grealish in the midfield and an amazing, Firmino type striker. And you can think about it. Look, you got Son. I mean, just use this as an example. Son, Dybala, Bale, Grealish, Højbjerg, and Ndombele, Reguilon, two new center backs, and Tanganga on the right. I'd be all right with that.
Yeah, I would be too. No, I fully get what you're saying, Will. I fully understand it. But for me, I thought the whole idea of getting this stadium and this training complex and moving into the big boy league was so that we weren't selling our best players like we've done in the past. Michael Carrick, Luka Modric, Gareth Bale, Dimitar Berbatov. Yeah. I thought that was the whole reason of this stadium and everything else, so that we were building around the big boys instead of selling them and moving on. But look, I get what you're saying. If times call for it, the mess that we're in, maybe it has to happen. And Maria Williams says here, we can't hold on to players forever. We have to accept he is going and move on. It's about the recruitment. After that, it's the most important thing. No, 100%, I agree with you. Recruitment, but we don't have recruitment at this club, and that's why.
The problem.
That's why I'm afraid to sell Kane, because
100%.
you bring in another striker and you don't get the goals up the top of the pitch. Unfortunately, what Alex Davies said the other day, that maybe, next season we could be looking at relegation if we don't change the squad and we don't get the right manager. And then now on top of it, Harry Kane goes, we're in big trouble next season, guys. We probably should enjoy this being sixth or getting fifth or sixth this season and getting Europa League, because next season we're in for a long, long season if we sell Harry Kane. Like, you're hoping that this striker that we do replace him with comes in, hits the ground running. Not only that he doesn't get injured, because he gets injured, who do we have?
Also,
You know what I mean?
Consider major rehaul. We're all calling for major rehaul. A bunch of extra players to be also sold this summer. So if we're considering that it might be, if we get a lot of those ones sold, it could be like 8 to 10 players that are leaving this summer. And then even with, let's say, 5 to 6, even 7 new faces at the club, they're not all going to adapt right away. Yeah. And that's also going to be a major disappointment for us. And we're going to have to accept that, because they're human beings and players are going to need time to adapt. But that could be also further evidence to say that we are, I wouldn't say relegation, but like damn near close to it, possibly at the low, at the scariest. And
you're never too big to go down. You look at Leeds United,
and I thought about it as like a Fulham. Fulham have done that before, where they bought sometimes where they went down right away when they did like a 200 million rehaul and just put in a bunch of players and see if they can just, climb mid-table in one season. And they didn't do it. That went right back down with a huge investment. And this would be kind of a similar thing, and to a degree, similar thing.
100%. But big up Maria Williams for the super chat. You're too kind, and thank you. I really do appreciate it, Maria. And we'll take a chat here from Arthur Everett. Big up, Arthur. I hope you're keeping well, my man. Everyone, your Spurs story went down an absolute storm, my man. I might have to get you in for a round 2 if you have more stories. Hugo is staying for me for one more season, and Levy will not sell Kane this season. And Levy knows if Kane goes, some will want to leave. And I put my video out today on YouTube. Arthur, send in the channel name, man, into the link, and so that we can all get on it and have a look, my man. Big yourself up, Arthur. But look, we'll move on, because we are starting to get pressed for time. So, Jack, what stats do you want next, man?
Yeah, let's just move on to the next one. I can dive into it. We probably maybe need, if possible, it's hard to see, and if it could be blown up, then that would be nice. But
I can
if it can't,
blow it up a different way. Hold on.
Because I obviously have my document in front of me to reference it. But
which one are we looking at here?
I think we can go into maybe just
this is the top part of it, or the passes and goals.
Yeah, just look into some of the circled elements.
So we got through balls.
Right. So in the through balls, I can remember. So this is just looking into some of his pass types. These are the type of passes that Kane's plays. They can either be sideways passes, progressive passes, which would be forward passes, through balls, chip-ins, whatever it may be. And in terms of through balls, Kane is in the 99th percentile. The 99th percentile meaning he's ranking amongst other strikers in the Premier League. He is the best. He is in the 99th percentile. If he was in the 90th percentile, that would still mean he is quite amazing. There are only a few players better than him. In regards to any type of passing statistic, Kane is pretty much at least in the 80th percentile or higher in terms of players in his position in the Premier League. He plays basically no better through balls than any other player. He's just practically the best passing center forward in the league this season, and is debatably proving to be maybe one of the best passing center forwards possibly of any season of all time, just because he's playing all types of passes. He's playing long passes very accurately. He's basically the highest in terms of expected assists, expected goals. He's just, it's hard to see these stats, but basically all the green is just showing that he's just an absolutely incredible player. Yeah. The ones where they're the 3 or 4 arrows pointing, that's just, I think those are referencing in the right over there, right? I think you might have just I think you might have just had it. But it's just showing that he's basically the highest in expected assists, expected goals minus penalties. So even though Harry Kane is our penalty taker, if you take away penalties, he's still the highest in terms of expected goals and everything. Yeah, thank you. This is brilliant. This just shows look at the passes that he makes in terms of switches. He's able to switch play brilliantly. He's able to play through balls better than anyone. He's able to play dead passes very well. He's able to just create. He's one of the best goal creating actions. It says right there where it says dribbles. That means where he's able to beat past a player and either play in a through ball or basically just create a goal. He's basically the best there is. It's just there's a lot of green, basically, because he's very good. Shot creating actions up there, 3.38 per 90. That just means that a shot creating action is either a dribble, a pass, or anything that leads to a shot on goal. And he's in the 97th percentile. I mean, there's probably only one or two other players better than him at it in his position. He's just, I'll say it again. He's the best number 9 in the Premier League and is practically having the best season in not only passing and scoring, but just practically everything for a striker in the Premier League ever.
100%. Jack, any more stats you want to run through there before we go on to transfers?
I mean, it's just can't be said enough that he's been playing with a pretty poor side and he doesn't have the ball very often. So Tottenham are actually ranked below Fulham for the majority of the season in terms of possession. And so if you just take these passing characteristics into play, you realize that he is absolutely the greatest passer in the Premier League, if not maybe, like I said, the greatest passing season of any player of all time in the Premier League, simply because he's not playing for a great team. He's not playing for Man City, and he's basically producing what Guardiola would want from his center forward. He's producing what any manager would want. He's just producing unreal numbers that practically make the hair on your neck practically stand up. It even says at the bottom there, progressive passes per 90. That means that he's just playing a pass that's 10 yards at least forward into the other opposing half. And he's in the 94th percentile regarding that. I mean, he's really just passes into the penalty area or into the final third. He's in the 99th percentile and the 88th percentile. He's ridiculous. He's able to play decisive cutting through balls and passes that are basically almost guaranteed goals or at least chances better than any other player this season and debatably in history.
And for
that's
me,
what I would say.
Yeah, for me, look, that's why
and
we
that's
can't
irreplaceable.
imagine this season without Harry Kane. Imagine this season without Harry Kane. You said there we have less percentage than Fulham this season. And look at the numbers the guy's putting up. This is why you can't afford. He's one of the world's best players. We cannot afford to lose him. But we just take a couple of quick chats here, and then we'll get Will's thoughts on everything that's just that Jack was saying. Arthur Everett says, yes, I have more stories. So that's around too, Arthur. Big yourself up. And he says, Ask Arthur on YouTube. So everybody, once you're finished watching the Irish Hotspur, get over and check out Ask Arthur. I can't wait to have a look at it, Arthur. What's the story? It's the old lad. He says, sad to see Harry go, but maybe Levy will be forced to buy real players now. Can't rely on Harry. Yeah, hopefully. I hope that's the case. But I just don't trust our board to spend the money adequately. I think we're in trouble next season. I really do. Fletch Spurs number 1. First of all, you have to stop lying, my man. I'm number 1. I'm number 1 Spurs fan, lad. Only messing. He says we need to sort the manager before we can say who we want to bring in 100%. Aglia Kakaratis says, how do you get to do a super chat, David? Look, when you go to put in a chat, there's Will, you'd be able to explain it better. What's the sign? A dollar sign or?
Yeah, it's a little dollar sign at the bottom in a box, and then you just click on that, and then you just click on the super chat, and then you type in what you want to say, and then you hit send.
There you are, Aglia. I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing one. So there you are, Aglia. Hopefully that explains it for you. Thank you so much. And Nigel Gates says, I hope he gets to Man City. That's why he's guaranteed to win trophies. And Pete from the Lane, yes, Arthur, just subbed. I will watch your video after this stream. A big up Pete from the Lane as well. Huge channel legend, so he is. Nice to meet you over at the Hotspur Stadium. Look, next time I get over, if you want to go for a pint, that's the outlet, of course, not the son. Son's too young. If you want to meet up for a pint, I'll have a lot more time. We can go for a pint and everything else. So big up Pete from the Lane. But Will, anything you want to say to what Jack, all the stuff that Jack provided us with there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree that, Harry
makes
Kane,
sense.
it's impossible to disagree that Harry Kane is one of the best, if not the best, definitely the best in the Premier League this season, and if not the best in the strike. I don't think he's replaceable.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
what
think
the
of
stats show.
Yeah, I can't think of one particular striker that could do what he could do. I don't even think that Erling Haaland can do what he can do right now, to be frank.
I even
Erling
said
Haaland would be the closest one to getting goals to give you the goal return. But in terms of assist and all-round play, nowhere near it.
I
don't even think he'll give you the goal returns. We're talking about Germany versus, and even in Germany, I mean, how many does Haaland have this season?
Jesus, but he was out a lot with injuries this season.
I can look it up quickly for you.
I mean, if he's 20 and he's out with a lot of injuries, that's scary as well. It's not until your mid 20s that you start missing games due to injury.
He's 25 this season.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not even a ton, right?
Yeah,
and a lot of that Bundesliga opposition, especially in the bottom half of the table, is worse than the Premier League bottom half of the table. The top half. It's not like Harry Kane scored a lot of goals against the top 6 sides this season either, but especially when you look at the assists as well, he's gonna be a tough person to replace, and that's why it's almost like you're gonna have to buy 2 or 3 guys to replace the one.
Right.
And the problem is, and I'm sure when we get into the next slide here, which is the transfers in it.
Yeah, just quickly, Stelios, my man. I'm literally only going till 5:45 because I have 2 other shows I need to do before I get back here and do my show tonight. But if you want to jump on tonight, you're more than welcome, man. So just let me know, Stelios. But I am only finishing in 15 minutes, man. I just have just a couple more things to run through, and then I'm out of here. Well, big up,
Stelios. You are bald and bearded, so we're also going live in about 1:30 or 6:30 your time, Stelios, if you want to jump on there. So.
Yeah. Priya says, David, it looks like you're crying. No, not yet. I haven't cried today. I'll cry when Harry Kane goes. Believe me, my man. Believe me, I'll definitely shed a tear. Sorry. We'll move on with the transfers and that there now, lads.
Yeah, transfers. Sorry, I was asleep. I fell asleep.
And people are going to ask why we're bringing transfers into it is because I want to show you the reasons why enic and Levy have
I need to blow that one up
Harry
too.
Kane. So, Jack, do you want to run through this?
Yeah, pretty much what the transfers are showing since our Champions League final in 2019 are just showing that we've practically made 0 investment at all in the squad. We've kept the players that we've made. Obviously, these are in terms of our departures. We've obviously brought in some players, but these are the players that have left the club. And the players that have left the club have been Christian Eriksen, Kieran Trippier, and Vincent Janssen, and George Nkudu, Danny Rose, and Kyle Walker, all the ones that have left for any money. You can even see the total transfer sums from those are £58 million and £11 million, total of around £70 million. It's not a lot to actually work with. And it just shows that, and I put my hand up before about this, but it just shows that even our board are far too sympathetic towards the players that we have and the quality that we have at the moment. They're not cutting the line. They're not just saying, end of contract. Sorry, you didn't provide what we needed and we've given you enough time. They're keeping the players. They're trying to get the best value out of them so they can sell them on later. They don't care about their performances, because if this shows that this is how much money we've actually, in a sense, accrued from just transfer sums alone since the Champions League final, it's actually quite absurd. We could have easily have sold plenty of our players, even some of our really great players that got us to that Champions League final. Of course, we could have sold them at that time, like the Harry Stinkses, like the Musa Sissokos, when they were in that really high peak time, and we could have sold them for much more and probably got a much better replacement. But we didn't, and we've kept these players, and now it's definitely far too late to get a good sum out of them. And it is quite depressing just to see just no money really from these transfers. And a lot of these also are loans that a lot of them will be receiving back and probably integrating back into our squad later. And it's really just, it's quite sad. Yeah, no, it is. It's very sad. Just quickly, we have Kieran McDonald. Big up Kieran McDonald. He says, dark days. Thanks for the therapy, lads. Hashtag Harris Army. Yeah, no, it's very dark days, Kieran. And thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. And this is the guy that was on your channel the other night with he was
really on last night. He stayed up with me last night till like 3 o'clock in the morning, man.
Good on him.
Fair play to him. I really like listening to what this guy has to say. He's a brilliant guest to have. So keep it going, Kieran. I really do appreciate the super chat, my man, as well. Sue Smith, David, what time your show tonight? Look, it'll be about 9:30. 9:30 I'll be going, Sue Smith. So Big yourself up. So Aglaya Kakaratis with the super chat. Big yourself up, Aglaya. And she says, let me get the message. We have to buy a British striker if Harry Kane leaves, as getting a striker from the continent, in my opinion, won't work. Danny Ings would be the natural replacement. Just quickly, guys, Will, what do you think on that? What do you think on what Agri has to say about getting an English striker and probably Danny Ings being the best one?
No, I'm not. I don't rate Danny Ings at all, to be honest. To be fair, if you're gonna get an English striker. I don't understand why you need an English striker. First of all,
that's
why I'd rather be going for the quality,
especially for one of the most important positions.
I could care less if they're from Timbuktu, to be honest with you. But but yeah, look, I mean, Tony. I think Ivan Toney, Danny Ings is on his way out. Why would you replace Harry Kane with an older version of Harry Kane?
Yeah,
like. That doesn't make any sense. I would go for like an Ivan Toney or a Watkins or somebody like that. You know what I mean? If you have to go English, but those guys don't even hold a candle. There's no one in England. There's no striker from the continent that even holds a candle to Harry Kane. So
100%.
Calvert-Lewin, maybe. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, maybe.
Look, as good as he is in the air and he's a handful, he's still no patch on Harry Kane. He's no
patch on Harry Kane, but I mean, maybe I would be okay with Dominic Calvert, but he's having injury issues lately too. He missed most of the season this year, so
you're already tying your hand behind your back too. I mean, no offense, but to UK listeners, but you are tying your hand behind your back if you're trying to replace Harry Kane with only another British striker. That's just obviously it takes more than one player to replace Harry Kane and his output. But if you're looking specifically for British strikers, I mean, you're going to definitely come up short in every department, unfortunately.
100%.
And look, I mean, that's what the academy's for, right? The academy is there to fill the homegrown player quota. That's what the academy's for. It's why you have an academy. We don't need to be going into the transfer market for British players or thinking that we have to buy British players.
Yeah.
That's what the academy's for.
But
why a club has one.
Big up Aglaya for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. What's the story? Says, bang on, Jack. Levy is a virus, is a fucking virus. Kieran McDonald, we pulled a late one last night, Will, didn't we? And big up Canadian Spurs as well. He says, if when Kane does leave, 150 million is enough to find a replacement. Big yourself up, Canadian Spurs. But look, guys, we do have about 10 minutes left. So, Jack, if you do have any questions for the panel and you want us to stop and discuss anything, make sure you get your super chats in. And also, it's a great way to support the channel, and it's a great way to support me. I'm doing 4 shows today. I'm absolutely killing it today. But big yourselves up and big up the Harris Army. But look, Jack, we'll get back to the transfers and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Please send in those super chats to David today because he's trying to hold back the tears and he's going to be going through a lot of shows, going through a lot of work, and I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't break down during one of them. And
probably will have a breakdown.
Keep the super chats flowing. If you keep the super chats flowing, you'll keep the tear ducts empty for the time being. So please help David from not breaking down in the middle of a stream today. It's just like kind of what this really highlights what was said earlier in the chat, where Levy is a virus. Like this is unacceptable. It really was. Like I was almost like refreshing the page, going to different sources. Like, is this really like the total that we've actually accrued? Obviously, like some of these loan transfers, if they wanted to buy Juan Foyth, if they wanted to buy Oliver Skip, if they wanted to buy Paulo Gazzaniga, but these are not like marquee players that would really, at the end of the day, still influence the sum that much. And we're bringing the majority of these players back, actually, in the likes of probably Oliver Skip and probably Juan Foyth, especially Ryan Sessegnon. And it's quite just sad. We have to rebuild, and we've actually not made any money from player sales recently. And so we actually are just basically trying to just dig up money from wherever it may be hiding. And it's just, it is actually poor business. It is actually, if you had a director of football, this would be actually unacceptable. If you were a Rangnick, if you were an Ocampos, because either the only reason you would not be selling players like this is if you had just an absolute plethora of young players that are going to be, valuable in the next coming years, almost kind of like rising stock. But that's not the case for us, obviously. We have actually a quite aging squad and a quite talentless squad. And it's just, it's going to really hurt when they're going to have to dig up the money for this, unless Son and Kane are sold this summer and they attribute a lot of that money towards trying to rebuild this. But it is unacceptable.
Do you know what? That's what you just brought up there today, Jack. Fair play to you. It's even more alarming than what I thought with the money that we're selling players and we're recuperating, and then we're expecting to be able to bring in quality players to replace these guys and get better and better. It's actually more alarming than what I thought. So big yourself up, Jack. And if the enic movement can't even take note of that, because you say he's a great businessman, the evidence is there.
Imagine if we were Leipzig. This is my point to make it better. Imagine if we were Leipzig, and if Leipzig did this would make sense, because they have they almost have no players even in their squad above the age of 27.
Just like Ajax.
Yeah, well, they're in a sense they're a selling club, but they're not like Ajax where they're kind of limited by their league. They are, and they also have a big sugar daddy, and so they are able to grow, and they're trying to challenge Bayern, and so they are growing to challenge Bayern. Obviously, at the moment, they have to sell their biggest players when they become too big for the club. But at the same time, they have just so many replacements. And so even when they sell those big marquee players, they easily don't have to buy, and, they just have quality replacements, and they could easily not sell players for 4 seasons. And then they would have all these players that would then have their stock would have risen in that time. But that's not the case for us. If we went like we did 2 seasons without really selling players, we don't have many players in the squad that have, so to speak, increased in value or are, just able to be sold right now for a ridiculous sum, other than Harry Kane and Son.
And that's the thing. Like, if we are going to go down that model, and that is the model we're trying to replicate, we're horrifically failing at it as well. So we don't actually even have a model that
Leipzig cheated at it a little bit.
Those fans can get behind and even speak about and try and understand what direction they're going in. And this is a major part of the problem. And as well, just quickly, Mary McGee makes a good point as well. She says the money made will be paid off the loan they got. That has to start being repaid as well. But big up, Mary. That's true. But Will, what's your thoughts, man?
On what?
On everything that Jack has just said here, everything that Jack has put on the plate here about like
my mind just keeps wandering to the guy sitting in the back office who's making the transfers.
Right.
It's like Kieran and I last night on the stream probably spent a good, and there were some other people too. I mean, I think even Marcelo was on last night. There's a bunch of people who were on last night. And we spent like a good hour just kind of like, window shopping. You know how like your wife does before the tax return comes in or before payday, she's already out there spending it before she's got the cash in her hands. But to be honest, when then real life hits you and the bills come, and you realize that all that money's right out the door, like you don't have anything to buy. That's kind of the reality that I'm kind of sinking into now. Is just I'm gonna have a calculator out this summer if Harry Kane goes and every other people that go, and if every dime of that doesn't go right back into the team, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be livid, absolutely livid.
Yeah. No. I'm the same. Just quickly, Aglaya says she's responding to you, Will. Okay, we'll have to agree to disagree. And also, Ivan Toney is British. Ings only a few months older than Harry, as there is no one who can really fill his boots. I just thought Ings is our best bet. Aglaya, Ings would be one of the cheapest bets, actually, because his contract is coming up. This summer, he only has 1 year left on his contract. So if he doesn't sign, it puts Southampton in a position to probably get him for around 20 million. Look, if you could get Danny Ings and another 1 or 2 strikers in as well, I'd probably go for it. But relying on Danny Ings as the main man, I can see where you're coming from. He does get goals, but as a main man, I'm not 100% sure.
He would need an incredible squad underneath him, just supporting him.
You're talking half the goals.
You'd be then investing it in some ridiculous midfielder or whatever. He would be a very cheap signing, like you said, David, and we would have a lot of money to play with. And so he would be the cheaper signing.
100%. But even just down to what's here, the players that we're selling, how, if we're not getting the money, if we're not getting good money in, how are we supposed to be bringing in quality players to put in and around Kane, to put in and around Son. You know, and like that, like what's been brought up here. Why are we even going for Skriniar if the money's not there? Why are we putting out all these smoke and mirror signs? You know, if the money's not there, realistically, to go and get someone like that. This is another thing. Like they're saying, oh yeah, we're going out to Skriniar, try and make it happen. Like, don't get me wrong, I know they can structure deals over a certain amount of years and stuff like that as well. But you know, what chance do we have if we can't get money in for the players that we're selling? But then when we do bring in players, you know, you're bringing in them fat ass. He's 2 years, he's not even fit. You know what I mean? You bring in Lo Celso, he's running the ball out of the pitch like he's playing for the Argentinian rugby team, expecting our players to line up and throw Harry Kane up to catch the fucking thing. You know, then you have like the likes of Moussa Sissoko coach, 30 million wasted on the fucker. You know, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And like we're heading for dark times with everything there. Dark times. Mike Pepper with the super chat, big up Mike. I really do appreciate it. Look, if there was a message you were supposed to put on it, man, no need to send in another super chat. Well, unless you want to, but no need to. You know, just put it in the comments and I will bring it up. We'll be going for another 3-4 minutes. Lads, any closing thoughts on all of this?
You can go first.
Enic out.
Enic out, yeah. I mean, Will has said it before where it's like, even with all the stats that I've given and what I've said today, you just kind of leaves you kind of, I don't know, just don't know what to do because you just say, well, they could do this. They could easily, you know, think about it this way. But that's likely, given history and given evidence that we have and conventional wisdom about our board, we know that they're probably not going to do that. And in the likes of the idea that we're saying we need this major rehaul, we need to sell everybody. And I want us to sell more than 8 players this summer. But the idea that, right, even these last 2 years since the Champions League final, we've shown that we don't sell players, that we aren't selling these players. And so it's just going to be kind of ridiculous to expect that we would be selling 6 to 8 players. And that just makes it even sadder for me.
Before we go, is there any word out there on the meeting the Trust had with Daniel Levy today?
No, nothing yet. But you know what? It really wouldn't surprise me if the meeting was at 9 o'clock tonight. So it'll be too late for the Tottenham Hotspur supporters just to be able to put something up there, put something out there with the organisation or whatever the plans are for tomorrow's game. It wouldn't surprise me if that meeting was literally last minute tonight, so that there's no, you know what this board and Levy are like. Will, you know what they're like. Just quickly, I'll just take this from Mike Pepper because he did send in the super chat. But here's the comment. Hi people. He says, think we're jumping the gun with Kane. It's just psychological warfare. Enoch are playing with their heads, distraction technique. We should be aware of it by now. Fair point. That's a fair point, Mike. I did have that element of thinking to it. You know, maybe I was saying it to try and get everybody to fill the stadium tomorrow, thinking it'd be Harry Kane's last home game for them to get revenue. There is all that at play. I just think this time I believe it, especially with the interview that he done with Jamie Redknapp a while ago, where he was saying, you know, before the season, I think it was, if Tottenham aren't going in the right direction, then I'll have to relook at things. And, you know, look, before I give my thoughts on it, Mike, just stay tuned. I'll let Will give his final thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely, and it could be 2 things. It could be, like I said this last night on the stream, do you think this is maybe something, maybe Harry Kane's on the Enic outside? He's thrown this out there. He's had his brothers throw this out there to kind of get the fan base riled up, maybe gain support for people to go out and protest tomorrow or do whatever. Maybe he saw the fact that it was smaller than it should have been and he's trying to boister it up. You know, could it be like, you know, Ben mentioned on his show earlier, you know, when he was talking to you, David, where he was like, you know, maybe it's Daniel Levy doing this to do some kind of thing. You know, look, I don't know. I just, you know, look, I think Kane just wants to go. I think he's just fed up, to be honest.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. Look, my final thoughts on it. 1 second, Mr. K. David, my first show is on tonight, 11 p.m. on Will's channel. Any chance of a shout out, 3 wise men? Yeah,
Absolutely.
No, 100%. Look, of course, I always give Will the chance to plug his stuff at the end of the show. And Mr. K, I'll plug it at the end of my show tonight, 100%. I will. Don't worry about that, lad. But look, my final thoughts on everything is that with Harry Kane, you know, he looks at the club, he sees no manager, he doesn't know what manager's coming in. There's Son and Lloris's future up in doubt, you know. Then, you know, even if he goes and speaks to Levy and he says, you know, look, what's the plans for next season? No matter what Levy tells him, Kane looks at the scouting infrastructure. the footballing side of the business, the deals that we've done over the past, he just looks at it and says, he's lying. He's lying. We don't have the director of football. We don't have a scouting department that are scouting the right players and bringing them in. You know what I mean? And then anytime they do, we're always 5-10 million away from them. So if you're Harry Kane, you're fed up, you're gone. You're gone. When you see the likes of Madison picking up an FA Cup, Jamie Vardy's come from non-league drinking whatever it is he drinks, Red Bull and wine or whatever that mixture is. You know what I mean? He's come from non-league all the way to winning a Premier League and an FA Cup. You know, if you're Harry Kane, you're out of here. You're out of here big time, especially when you're at the level he is and the trophies he wants to win. He's said it numerous times to us. Personal accolades are great, but it's the team ones I want. It's the big ones. It's the big boys I want, a.k.a. Champions League, Premier League. You know, Harry Kane's 28. So by the time he finishes playing Europa League next season, he's 29. By the time he gets back into the Champions League, if we get that next season, he's already 30. He's already 30. He doesn't want to be wasting 28 is the prime of his career. He's not going to waste between 28 and 31 sitting here at Tottenham twiddling his thumbs, you know, just trying to beat a couple of records. At the end of the day, every great player is always remembered. You know, you always throw players in, but he was a great player. But people just, but what did he win? What did he win? You know what I mean? You have to leave a legacy. You have to be seen picking up trophies to be able to have that legacy in the game that Harry Kane has always desired. He's worked his bollocks off. He's gone out there after training. Any people I've listened to that were at Tottenham, all these, because everyone knows I listen to a lot of player podcasts, and they all said Harry Kane was always out there after training with a bag of balls, practicing shooting, practicing his technique. He was the hardest working player there, and he's the example. So for me, if you put that much time and effort to make yourself better, and Tottenham haven't put in the players in and around him to help him progress to be able to win things, and like I said, he's going to be 30, 31 before he gets back into Champions League if he stays at Tottenham. He's gone. He's gone. And that's the sad reality of it. But look, guys, I may wrap it up there because I do have another show to go to now at 6 over on Henry Wright TV. If any of you want to come across and check it out. And also, you know, Will Stewart has a show at 6:30, which I think where a lot of you will end up going anyway. But we'll give you a quick chance there to plug your channel, man.
Yeah, no, THFC rants. Got a long day of streaming today. We got 3 shows today. We've got the Bald and Beard Tottenham Boys show. And then we've also got this show here. It's a new series. Dave, if you want to throw that up there, you can. If not, that's cool too. But just as what
What's
Mr.
that?
K was talking about.
Throw it out there if you want, man.
Yeah, you can throw it up. I shared it. You can just throw it up there if you want. Just got to click that add to stream there. And then it's kind of more of a serious vibe. It's called the 3 Wise Men. It's a new series. It'll be on the show every Tuesday night, 7:00. And they have basically it's just kind of like they go through the history, a lot more history, finance, you know, some of the details. So today's show is who are we and how do we get there? And then tonight we have our normal pre-match show at 10 p.m. Eastern. So it's 1:30 Eastern, 7 Eastern, 10 Eastern for those in the U.S., and then that's 6:30, 11, and 3 a.m. for the guys in the U.K.
There you are, guys. All the shows that you can expect on Will Stewart THFC today. You know, absolutely can't wait for it. If the late night show's happening, I'll probably get myself on that. But big up everybody. And Adley, I absolutely love this comment. Can we just say we're selling Harry Kane, but con Man City and just sell Harry Winks? I wish we could. I really wish we could, Aglia. But actually, quickly before we let Jack plug himself, let me know what you thought of the stats that Jack has brought to the stream, because I am going down that route with Jack next season. We're bringing a lot of stuff to streams next season, stats and everything else, especially for match previews and stuff like that. So let us know what you thought, and is it something you want going forward? And even if you don't, to be honest with you, it's happening anyway. But Jack, where can we find you, man?
Yeah, you can find me over at Tottenham Away. If you enjoyed kind of some of the stats I gave, and if you enjoy kind of just listening in to kind of some of the stat explanations, because usually do explain, I try to use them to explain a problem or something good about Spurs or bad. And if you want to see more of that, you can see it on Friday with the 2 Bryans, and you find me over there on my show, Jack Knows What. But you can also catch me tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, for Jack Ask David, and where we ask David a bunch of hard-hitting questions, as well as other panel members. And that's what I always look forward to every week. And it's please be there tomorrow and send in the super chats, challenge David, challenge his opinions, and we're going to keep it hard hitting tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what we want on this show, Jack. We want, if you have an opinion, we want people to be able to defend it with their life, be able to defend it. That's what it's about. Challenging each other's opinions so that we can educate the fans, so that they can look at us and pick out what they think is going on, and maybe open their minds. And with fans' comments, they also open our minds too. Mm-hmm. So big up the Harris Army. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. What I have coming up today, I'm on Henry Wright's channel now at 6. I'm on Paxton Road at 8, and then I'm back here at 9:30 with a preview towards tomorrow's match. And to be honest with you, whatever else the show descends into, I'm sure there'll be Harry Kane talking and stuff like that.
I gotta do this before we go. Jack knows what.
I need to record something like that. Brilliant idea.
Yeah, you do. You actually do. You actually do. But no, big up Will Stewart, and big up Jack Kineke as well for coming up and giving their time to come on today at 6 o'clock in the evening. I really do appreciate you, the Harris Army. You're all legends. Thank you so much for everything you do. We actually have more numbers to plug this now quickly, but I was telling people at the start of the stream, I actually have a sponsor on. I wasn't going to do anything for the Euros this summer, but I actually have a sponsor on board, so I will be doing watch-alongs and everything else like that. And basically, I have my own league where you guys can come in, put in your score predictions for the Euros and everything else like that. There will be a prize for the league winner as well, so it's just going to be a bit of fun. You can also get live scores, live stats and everything else off it as well. You, the Harris Army, are the ones that have got me this sponsor. So you, the Harris Army, are the ones that I'm relying on to be able to get onto this app and show them that we have the influence. Because honestly, the message does saying, your content is fantastic. Your views are through the roof. Your viewers' engagement are through the roof. And you have plenty of what did they say, like personality or
right.
not boring. Basically, just not boring. You know what I mean? And you guys, the Harris Army, are the ones that makes all this possible. So when I do drop the league and I do drop the app, I need you guys to get on it and put the pressure on, because that'll just bring more and more sponsors, which makes me be able to do this full time. And you, the Harris Army, just gets more and more and more of me 24/7, which I know it's what people want. It's 24/7. But honestly, anyone else that's tuned in, I've seen a lot of names in the chat who hasn't subscribed. Make sure you do smash that subscribe button. But look, it's been a great show. I'll be bringing more of this sort of content in a lot more detail. I'm just a bit pushed for time today. That's all it was. But big up Jack, big up Will, big up you, the Harris Army, and anyone else for tuning in. Come on, you Spurs. See you back over here at 9:30. Make sure you're here. Let's do this. See you later, lads.
Enic Flat caps for life.
Yeah, Enic out. Flat caps for life. Everyone else, Bob, Spur, Marcelo, I know you're all watching. You're going to have to get your flat caps in, guys. You're going to have to get your flat caps in. But honestly, we're out. See you later. Come on, you Spurs. Harry Kane, I love you. Please don't ever leave.